Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Micah Diaz, and I am a marketing major at Union University. Today, I will be giving a presentation on the topic of establishing business acumen in remote environments, with a presentation that I call On and Off the Camera. Before we begin, however, we're going to look at what business acumen actually is by analyzing a quote from Dr. Gregory P. Riley. He says, quote, "Business acumen is keenness and quickness in understanding and dealing with a business situation in a manner that is most likely to lead to a good outcome," end quote. And I want to help you create that good outcome. We'll be looking at a three-step process. The first being creating the setting, the second, creating a persona, and lastly, the third, creating a schedule. With that, let's start by looking at creating your setting. The environment, remote as it being your bedroom or your office or another building, anything that is not your office, it doesn't matter where the setting is, yet all of them still matter in how you create the setting and what you do in order to do that. We'll be looking at 4 steps. The first is to think about what is on your wall. If you look behind me, there are a couple pieces of simplistic artwork as well as a few presents. What this does is it adds a little bit of character to the room without becoming too distracting, meaning if your eyes happen to wander off of me, they'll go onto something that is pleasant. Other things could be, simple photos of you and family or diplomas, anything of that sort. Also, we have to look at what is against your wall. You want to make sure that you remain professional. So if it's something like your bed or a closet, that doesn't look as good because those are more personal items. If it's something, however, like a couch or maybe a shelving unit with some books, that creates another era of character without seeming as if you're in a space that is a little bit too unprofessional or too comfortable. The next thing you have to consider is, how is your room lit? Right now, this presentation is being lit by a lamp that is over here, as well as the window that looks out into my backyard. If I were to turn this lamp off, it becomes a lot darker and it's harder to see me. And I usually go to the brightest setting of my lamp to create a clear and crisp vision of me here. I don't want to seem like I'm in the background. I want to put myself forward. The next thing we'll have to remember is what the camera is going to see. If they see a lot of mess, if they see something inappropriate, that is not something that you should focus on. Instead, creating the setting, looking at what you'd want to look at if you were listening to a presentation, that's what you want to keep in mind. Simplistic, responsible, and professional. Once you've created your setting, we have to understand how you might create your persona because you want to reflect the position and the status that you have within the business you work for. How are you dressed? It's important to remember that when you're on a phone call or a video call, you want to be dressed professionally because it shows to your employees or employer that you are willing to put in the time and effort. You're not coming to meetings dressed in sweatpants or a hoodie. Rather, you're showing them that you are dressing up for the occasion because they are important to you. Yet you're also going to do the same thing off camera because it has been proven that if you are dressing well for something that even no one's going to see you at, you will remain more productive. You will get more work done. The next thing we have to look at is, what is the content you're showing? On camera, you're seeing simple and professional. Yet off camera, you are not going to see what I've done to create quality and look at powerful applications to do what I need them to do. So when you're on camera, remember to remain simple and professional. And when you're off camera, search for quality and power. Use technology that is going to help you the best and perform the best. And lastly, you want to look at the focus, the mindset. When you're on camera, you are focused to the audience. But when you're off camera, you're focused on yourself and who you are and your position. And that's going to reflect the third step, which is creating a schedule. There are 3 things that we have to remember. The first is that you're on the clock. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're doing a job, you are getting paid for that job. So you're on the clock and you are responsible for that action, which means you need to separate your work from your leisure time. You need to respect your deadlines and you need to be effective and efficient in the work that you are doing. The second thing, or a way to help you remember that, is to establish a regimen. This means going to bed early and waking up early, not staying out till 3 a.m. It also looks at hard start and stop hours, making sure you get the job done. You set a time during the day to do that work uninterrupted. And lastly, you want to review your persona. And I like to do this through several affirmations that I'm going to remind you of you all today. The first is that you are crucial for your overall success. You are also able to supply what others cannot do, meaning you add a sense of value to your company. And lastly, you have to remember that you can accomplish your goals, but you have to ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish? I want to end today with a quote by a former UCLA basketball coach named John Wooden. He says, quote, "The things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out." At the end of the day, whether you're forced to work at home or in a remote environment, or you simply chose to, you're given limited resources that an office would be able to give you more. Yet you can still create a setting, you can still create a persona, and you can still create a schedule, one that allows you to create the most likely good outcome, i.e., business acumen. Thank you.